Hello everyone. Welcome to a huge update. Well, maybe not so huge, but a very important update to all the Havoc 40 Chorus Zealot builds. I'm sure all of you Zealot mains are very excited for this because I was very excited in finding these changes and creating these new changes in the builds. So first of all, something that is relevant to all the builds is if you have a Psyker who has a Flame Staff, or generally have a Psyker in your team, then it's better to run the Spearhead Bolt Gun with the Pinning Fire and Puncture blessings with maximized collateral, minimized stability, and 25% to Maniacs and 25% to flak. Why is this? Well, because the flame from the Zealot Flamer doesn't stack very well, or at all, with the Flamer of the Psyker. And the bolt gun provides a lot of stagger to the mobs, which is an added effect that in a way contributes to the effectiveness of both the Flamer of the Psyker and your bolt gun with its bleed effect from puncture range hits, and that is also multiplied by the Pinning Fire. So the bleeds get amplified from the blessing called Pinning Fire. And the Pinning Fire blessing gets amplified the more collateral stat your gun has. You don't need stability, because generally what you want to do with this gun is unload it full auto at things that are rushing towards you, like Ragers or Maulers. You don't want to shoot this gun at Crushers, ever. Never do that. But at Ragers and Maulers, that's where you want to use the Spearhead Bolt Gun to stagger them, shoot the Maulers in the chest, shoot the Ragers in the head, and you will be doing AoE damage thanks to the collateral and thanks to the Mark III version of the bolt gun. Don't use the Mark II version of the bolt gun. That's very shit for a Zealot to use, but the Mark III is extremely powerful because it creates an kind of like an AoE explosion with each hit it makes. Now, the only thing you need to be wary of is that if the target is at point blank range, meaning right next to you, this effect of the AoE explosion will not activate. So you need to use this while they are still not right in your face. Right. So use the bolt gun whenever you have a Psyker on your team, because it's going to complement both you and the Psyker, and you can use this to shoot Gunners and Reapers from far away as well. So it's just much better whenever you have a Psyker on your team. When you don't have a Psyker, that's when you can use the Zealot Flamer, which is very strong weapon. Very strong, but it just doesn't stack with the Flamer of the Psyker. Now, about the build. You can remove the toughness from the Curios. Like, there was a +5 toughness on the Curios. I've changed that to block efficiency, stamina regeneration, and revive speed. And you can go into talents. And the best working aura for this build, the Tactical Axe crit build, is actually Benediction. Benediction gives you such an insane survivability. Such an insane survivability. I was shocked by how much it actually amplifies your tankiness. And it's kind of because whenever your Enduring Fate isn't active, which is rare because you do crit a lot, you still have Benediction to soften every blow. So that's a big win. And also Benediction combined with good balance gives you in total like 40% damage reduction, and then you have another 10% from here, so you have 50% toughness damage reduction thanks to getting Benediction instead of any of these 2 auras. And if and when, which is almost always when you're proccing Enduring Fate, which is another 40%, you're actually getting 90% toughness damage reduction. So you're extremely tanky. It's very much worth getting Benediction over any of these 2 auras with this specific build. I strongly recommend always running this aura with this build. Next is the Combat Blade Zealot. Nothing's changed here aside from, again, the stamina regeneration, block efficiency, revive speed. The Flamer, again, same thing. Change it to a bolt gun if you have a Psyker on your team. If you don't have a Psyker, you can run the Flamer. And now here, remove Abolish Blasphemers on the build I gave you with the original video of this build. You have Abolish Blasphemers. Remove that and go to Good Balance. Give that point to Good Balance. So just remove Abolish Blasphemers, give that point to Good Balance. And I strongly recommend you always run Zealous. This build synergizes extremely well with Zealous. Because it uses stamina, a lot of stamina. The whole build is stamina based. If you remember the video, or if you haven't watched it, then go watch it. I'll put a link in the description. It's the famous hiccup video where I have the hiccups. But yeah, I showed the build in depth there in the video, and basically most of the time you are shove attacking to deal your damage, meaning you're draining a lot of stamina. And that's why having minus 50% stamina cost and stamina regeneration delay reduction is extremely, extremely synergistic with this build. Extremely synergistic. Yeah. And now the new build. I have a new build for all of you, because we have a build for this aura, we have a build for this aura, but I haven't showed you a build for this aura. Before we go on to the new build, I just want to show you a little self-made guide on when to use each of these builds. So, as you can see from this scuffed little image that I created, you're supposed to use the Combat Blade build whenever you have heinous rituals in your Havoc, even in your Havoc 40 modifiers. This is the thing you want to be looking for mostly, heinous ritual. So whenever you see a heinous ritual on your Havoc modifier, you should be running the Combat Blade build. Why? Well, because the heinous ritual is a very tricky modifier. The sneaky, tricky way it kills your team is that it forces your team to sprint rush into the location of the heinous ritual, while also spawning hordes and while also having elites spawned around the heinous ritual itself, defending it. This creates a lot of problems for your team, because the melee characters of your team, when they arrive at the location, they need to fight the elites and the hordes, but they don't have the stamina to block and push the elites and the little mobs, because they've been running all this way. This build, the Combat Blade build, solves this problem because you're giving your whole team minus 50% stamina cost and stamina regeneration delay reduction. So they're going to be able to have a lot more stamina when they arrive at the heinous ritual location to actually get a fight, a proper fight with the enemies there. So this is a very, very valid, real reason to run this build whenever you see you have a heinous ritual. Now, if you see final toll or contaminated stems, these are also a good indicator that you should be running the combat blade build. Why? Because final toll and contaminated stems, they add a lot of offensive power to the enemies. Final toll increases their attack speed, makes them immune to crowd control, and I think it also increases their damage, but yeah, it also increases the damage. And why the combat blade build is perfect for countering final toll is because you have an extreme amount of mobility. The combat blade is obviously the most mobile weapon in your whole kit, meaning whenever you need to dodge, because you're gonna be needing to dodge a lot with final toll because you can't stagger them, you will be able to dodge very efficiently. You have a very long dodge with the combat blade. And also, because you are most of the time just block push attacking to deal your damage, that means you also have a very high chance of just by accident perfect blocking the attack of the enemy that he will be always chaining towards you. Like, enemies will be always chaining attacks at you when the final toll activates, because they're immune to crowd control. They can't be staggered. So you have a very high chance of defending yourself while attacking, and also you have the best dodge to supplement your survivability and help yourself fight them. Contaminate the stems is kind of the same. Enemies get attack speed, or they get damage boosts, or they get tankiness and stuff like that. And again, the combat blade helps you with the dodges, helps you with accidentally perfect blocking their attacks, and it also deals a lot of damage, a lot of burst damage, and that's what is very important for final toll and contaminate stems. You want to be able to kill the enemies as fast as possible so they don't like stay in the final toll forever. That's a huge reason why the tactical axe build would not be a good choice in final toll, because the tactical axe build relies on the idea that you're gonna be able to stack up your blessings, like on the weapon. Let me just show you. So you have these relentless strike and decimator blessings, and the idea is that you're supposed to be able to stack them up on the enemy so you can deal an insane amount of damage to them. But with final toll, you actually just want to be able to kill the enemy as fast as possible with burst damage, so he doesn't live long in his final toll buff. And same with contaminate stem. So that's why this build, which does just an insane amount, 60% weak spot damage and crits, and applies bleed and all that, and has first target bonus, finesse bonus and all that, does an insane amount of burst damage, is great for these two, the final toll and contaminate stems. The place where the tactical axe shines is the rampaging enemies in the encroaching garden and the rotten armor havoc modifiers, because those modifiers, they don't amplify the attacking offensive abilities of the enemies. They only buff their durability, and that's perfect for you with the tactical axe, because any encounter that forces you to have basically a very long encounter with the enemies means that it will allow you to stack up your decimator and your relentless strikes and you'll be able to actually benefit from the fact that they are tanky and deal with their allies much faster after you finish with the initial target on which you stacked up your blessings. Usually, without these modifiers, encroaching guard and rampaging enemies in rotten armor, the stacks of decimator and relentless strike can become kind of wasted because enemies just die very quickly and easily, aside from bosses. And that's why you mainly want to be using the attack axe with these modifiers: rampaging enemies, encroaching guard, and rotten armor. And now, the new build. It's a relic sword build, and you're supposed to use it whenever you see a blight spreads and or pox gas modifier on your havoc mission. Now, I know that there can be sometimes situations where you get a mission with heinous ritual and blight spreads, or let's say rotten armor and blight spreads. What you should do is always prioritize blight spreads, meaning you should run the relic build. Or change the aura. You just gotta have Beacon of Purity. It's a total must. You will fail every mission if you don't have Beacon of Purity. Generally, I just recommend running the relic build whenever you see a blight spreads modifier and a pox gas modifier, or a pox gas, either of these two. And always prioritize the blight spreads. So if you have these two, prioritize the relic build instead of the combat blade build. Or change the aura, but then you're weakening the build here. That's why I recommend doing the relic build. And now the new build. Let me just show you the new build. The new build. Ta-da-ta-da! Relic blade with finesse at its minimum. Why finesse at its minimum? Because through testing, I noticed that you almost lose no damage when you put the finesse on minimum compared to putting the power output to minimum or the damage to minimum. With finesse, you lose the least amount of damage, and the attack speed difference between maximum and minimum finesse is very little. It's like 2%, so you're never gonna actually notice it. You want to run the cranial grounding, rampage blessings with perks for killing maniacs and dealing with bosses, so unyielding enemies. This weapon. Now, listen. This weapon is here, and generally you want to have ammo to the minimum with everything else to the maximum. But this works as well, like an even split between ammo and stopping power. Now, why this weapon? So with this build, or more specifically with this weapon, you are very immobile. You can't really move very fast and dash around the battlefield and constantly change your location and kill shooters easily and stuff like that. And that's why you have the infantry lasgun. Now, when to use the infantry lasgun and when not to use the infantry lasgun. Whenever you're a veteran, if you have a veteran on your team, whenever your veteran has the build that I gave you for veterans, the recon lasgun build, whenever he's running the recon lasgun build, it means that he's not going to be using any ammo. And that's when you don't want to run the lasgun build. I mean, you don't want to run the lasgun weapon with this build. You actually want to run either the flamer or the bolter. whenever the veteran has a recon lasgun. Because he's not going to be using ammo, so you're going to be able to have a lot of ammo for your bolt gun. But if your veteran is using any other weapon that consumes a lot of ammo, so plasma gun, bolt gun, any other weapon basically that uses a lot of ammo, that's when you want to run the infantry lasgun. Because for the most part, your veteran will be able to support you with his heavy ranged weapon and support you with dealing with the heavy big targets. However, because he is using a heavy, high ammo usage weapon, he will not be able to deal with the small shooters and the elite shooters and the gunners, especially if they are in very high amounts, because he's just gonna run out of ammo if he tries to shoot every little gunner and every elite gunner and every reaper. Obviously he's gonna help with that, but he can't shoot every little gunner and elite gunner. He just can't. He's gonna run out of ammo. And that's why you're bringing the infantry lasgun with efficiency and between the eyes blessings, with perks for flak armor and unarmored, to be able to help him and help yourself generally deal with the small gunners and the elite gunners and the reapers. Because you can't do it with your relic blade. It's extremely hard to run over to the small gunner or elite gunner or whatever, kill him with your relic blade, and then run over to the next one. It's super slow, super inefficient, and very dangerous for you. And that's why you're running the infantry lasgun, so you can deal with them from ranged, from far away. Okay? And for the curios, you got the 3 wounds. That's what I prefer generally, 3 wounds. All of the wounds should have corruption resistance on them, including this one. I'm gonna put corruption resistance on this one, or you can leave it as that. I've tested it many times, apparently using this only this, so it works with just 2. But the reason why you want to have corruption resistance on all of them is because you don't have this one. You don't have this keystone. And if you don't have this keystone and you don't have corruption resistance on your curios, you are gonna get a lot of corruption really fast, which you can't heal easily because you're running martyrdom. So here's the build. And let me explain while you copy this whole build. So the reason why you're running Blood Redemption and restorative versus and enemies within enemies and enemies without, well, generally Blood Redemption and restorative versus are widely considered to be very bad places to spend your talent points. But because the Relic Blade with its special action is so powerful that you cleave through almost everything and easily one-shot a lot of the mobs, Blood Redemption and restorative verses and enemies within and enemies without allow you to become extremely tanky, because you will be reducing a lot of toughness damage thanks to your martyrdom and thanks to hubris, while at the same time gaining an insane amount of toughness back through killing enemies thanks to Blood Redemption and restorative verses. This I've found to work only or most optimally with the Relic Blade, because it just simply deals an insane amount of damage and has an insane amount of cleave. Oh yeah, and you have the good balance as well here, so you got another toughness damage reduction there. So you're gaining an insane amount of toughness while also reducing an insane amount of toughness. This is the secret behind this build. You're basically extremely tanky and you're dealing an extreme amount of damage. For the Relic Blade, I strongly recommend that you run the MK2. It is very challenging and very hard for new players to play with. A lot of new players will tend to go with the MKX. But first of all, there's no damage difference. Like you can see here, it's telling you that this does more heavy attack damage than this, but that's not true. But the reason why you want to run this Relic Blade is because the attack sequences of this Relic Blade version are a lot much better. Let me just show you. So first of all, with this Relic Blade version, you can do very fast single target, which are not very single target by the way, but let's say single target high damage light attacks, which allow you to kill anything that's in front of you. And the reason why I say they are not really single target is because after you swing twice, they become a cleave. So as you can see, my second strike is now kind of cleaving, meaning you're gonna be hitting a lot of enemies thanks to this cleave as well. The second reason you want to run this blade instead of the other version is because the heavy swing can two-shot maniacs as long as you hit them twice in the head. And imagine there's like 3 maniacs or 4 maniacs next to this guy. You're gonna be two-shotting all of them using this. And the correct combo is heavy, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light until you kill everything. For crushers and maulers, all you want to do is begin by rushing at them. Wait, no. Begin by rushing at them. Then it's light, heavy, light, heavy. Oops. So you get the idea. So it's just rushing at them, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy until they die. Now if you don't have the space to rush towards them, then you just do light, 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 heavy, heavy, light, heavy, light until they die. And obviously you want to have the Relic Blade special action activated so you deal the most amount of damage. You can also just do lights by cancelling. So let's imagine this guy's here and we do light, light, then block, light, light. And if you have the special action of the Relic Blade active, then you're gonna be dealing 800 or 900 damage with each light once all your things stack up. 800 damage with each light once all your the perks and blessings and stuff stack up. But I strongly recommend just doing light, heavy, light, because this under swing here, it can do a lot of damage as long as you hit the head with it. So see, it does double the damage. It does double the damage. And you can't do this with the other model of the Relic Blade. The other model just has different attacks and it doesn't have an underhead swing like this. It just doesn't have it. So this is definitely the better but harder to use for new players Relic Blade version. This is everything that I wanted to share with you. Remember when you should be using each of these builds, and enjoy carrying your teammates. all the way up to Havoc 40. Bye bye.